Hello everyone, welcome to What If Issei Got Heartbroken and Become Crimson Dragon of Domination Part 1. Before we start, please go support Dorita DK for writing that awesome fanfic. Now let's begin. Attack of the week. We find Issei walking away from the school heartbroken with tears in his eyes. A recent argument that happened a few minutes ago broke him. He just couldn't anymore. He went and just ran home with all his might. What was said cut to deep to still be around. Flashback a few minutes. The room was tense and filled with anticipation and concern. A small argument was starting, but nobody was able to keep it from getting to this point. Issei was almost backed into a wall. All eyes were on him, and there was nothing he could do. Rias stood front and center with the others watching from various spots of the room, watching the fight unfold. Rias: Issei. Who am I to you? Issei swallowed, took a deep breath, then spoke. Issei. Well, you're the president and I low. Rias. Upset you asshole. She slapped him hard enough to leave a mark on his face. He looked at her with complete shock. He didn't know what to do or say. Rias. You dumbass, can't you do anything right for the love of Satan? Stop being perverted and use you damn Brian, Satan, maybe I should have married Riser instead. She stormed off and left Issei just there in the middle of the room. He just stood there not knowing what to say. Bekeno. Angry, can you do anything right? How hard is it for you just to say her name? He could feel the lingering fear building up in him. It's a fear he's been pushing down and trying to forget he had, but it's coming back full swing, and they weren't helping, they were making it worse. Issei. Wait, what? Let me. He tried to walk but he was stopped again. Asia. Issei, didn't you see you hurt her? Can't you see that? It's unfair. Issei. Wait guys, let me just go and talk. Kiba. Dude, not now, we need to go check on Rias. Stay here before you make anything else worse than it already is. It's enough of a mess up as it is already. Zenobia. They call me dense, but come on man, you can be better than this. Kaneko. Jackass, you really won't have any women in your life, pathetic. They were getting ready to leave, leaving Issei behind. Issei's hair covered his eyes while they were chewing him out, save for Irina Roswas and Ravel watching the fight unfold before them. Issei. Gasper, do you hate me now too? Gasper. Kind of, you did hurt Miss Gremory. Issei unintentionally used his polylingual spell to see what they were thinking, hoping this was blind rage. Bekeno. Is it that hard just to say her name? He really messed up this time. We don't have time for mess ups like this. Asia. I'm normally one to side with him, but he's wrong this time. He was being stupid, and even I know that. Zenobia. They really called me thick-headed, but he's worse. Why aren't those saying anything? Are they staying mutual? But can't they see he's in the wrong? They should know better. Kaneko. Good for nothing pervert. Issei had enough and left. No voice of reason would be heard, so he just left. He slammed the hard enough that the walls started cracking. It shut them all up and scared them all a bit. They watched as the walls cracked further and the door didn't close properly. Present time. Issei needed to stop and just breathe and try and relax. His mind was racing and he couldn't stand it. His hands were shaking from frustration that he had fallen in love with such people. He tried to fight back his tears, but they were still running. He crouched down and covered his mouth with his hands to not cry, but it was no use. The tears came running full force. Issei. Crying, they call me useless. I'll show them all. He tried to slow down his breathing to let his body try and relax before he slowly lost it. Darling, you okay? He turned, looked to his side and saw Irina running to him with a very concerned face. She took his hand and brought it to her heart. Irina tearing up. Issei, are you okay? Issei calming down. I don't know, my mind is racing after everything she did to me. I don't know whether to be angry, sad or depressed. I just don't know anymore. And to top it all off, Ravel and Roswa saw it all too. Maybe I am this pathetic. Irina. Sad, yeah, she did. She's feeling guilty about it. She feels she was the cause of it, but Roswas told her to not worry about it after the others all left. After you did, you scared us all when you left like that, darling. Issei. Deep breath. I'm sorry if I scared you, I didn't mean to. She nodded and brought him into a hug to make him feel loved and wanted. She gently stroked his head and she could feel the shaking slow down. Issei. Calming down. Hey, thanks for checking on me, but I think I need a bit more time to clear my head. I need to just be by myself for a while. Irina. Oh okay, kisses his cheek. Be safe, my love. Issei. Smiles always. He brought her into a hug and kissed her. It was a magical feeling for both of them. It slowly started to get more intense, and then her wings popped out and started flickering from white to gray, showing she was going to fall. He pulled away and flicked her forehead. Issei. Stop having lewd thoughts, Chuckles. I'll see you later, okay? She blushed and nodded and watched him walk away, feeling nothing but love from him, and it made her very happy. She walked home with a smile on her face. Issei walked for a bit with a smile on his face because of the feeling Irina gave him. He felt it before but couldn't put his finger on it, but after a few more steps his smile faded and he didn't feel that happiness for a few moments from before. The feeling of just being manipulated and used just made him feel all the worse. He felt helpless, like he couldn't do anything at all. He just walked, and as he walked he felt their signatures. He masked his own and then went to see where they are. He found them sitting at a cafe. He hid near enough to hear them talking. Sona. Wow, he is a bit of a dumbass, if I'm being honest, but what made you fall for him in the first place? Rias. Irritable, I'm questioning it. Maybe it was when he rescued me from Riser. I don't know from there anymore, but I'm sticking with what I said. Perhaps I should have married Riser. Look at him. Now he's such a gentleman. He's honestly made Riser a better suited for me. Akeno. Irritable, I know why I fell for him, but now I don't know anymore. Asia stayed quiet, not knowing what to say and rethinking the situation that had happened. Kaneko. He fooled all of us. The useless pervert really messed up this time. She took a bite of her ice cream and still had a blank look on her face. Zenobia. I want to be his knight, but at this rate, I'm not sure if I'm going to ever be. They continued to drink their drinks and continue talking about him. It got to the point that they started talking about everything they hated about him, which was nearly everything. His straight face started to turn into a crying face, and his heart started to hurt a lot. Rias. Angry, at least Riser said my name. Maybe he would have been a better husband for me. He somewhat acknowledged me, unlike that perverted jackass. With a broken heart he got up and left with tears running down his face. He thought he found love, but it was just thrown back at his face. He got back to the orc club room and went on a frustration rant. He started smashing everything, and he really couldn't care anymore. All he did for them was protect them, be there for them, fix their problems, and even just comfort them when they felt down meant nothing anymore. He took out the Grimoire ring from his pocket and then placed it on the desk. Issei. I'm done with them. I want nothing from them anymore. He then went home, and when he got home no one was home, and went to his bathroom and looked in the mirror. Issei. Dreg. Partner, what can I do for you, my friend? Issei. Serious, can you bring me back to life? Dreg. What do you mean by bringing you back to life? Issei. I'm going to rip out my chess pieces. She's just going to use me like a dog, so I'm going to leave her die on my own accord, no regrets. He had a smile on his face. He then summoned the gauntlet and aimed it at his chest. Dreg. Wait, partner, what about Seraerg? He still awaits your battle. Perhaps leave after the fight if you still wish to do so. Do a last act of kindness towards the redeemed, then cut them out forever. Issei put both his hands on the sink, looked into the mirror and cracked a smile again. Issei. You know that could be better than the extreme pain. Then I need to go train then. I don't care anymore what happens to them. Let them fight for themselves. I'm not doing anything for them anymore. Dreg. Agreed. Now show them how badly they messed up. He left to go change, then went to the training room and started his warm-up of running for 1 kilometer. While he was gone the girls came back home from the cafe. They had worried faces. They wanted to apologize. Some, like Asia, had tears in their eyes. Flashback to after Issei left the cafe. After saying Riser would be a better husband, Rias took a sip of her tea, and Sona spoke. Sona. I understand that you are angry with him, but think of it in a different light. He gave you freedom. He's protected you all from things that could have killed you all. If you remember when we fought Loki, Rias, that wolf wanted your blood, not his. I'm a little disappointed in you, honestly. She in her peerage then bowed and left, leaving some money on the table. Rias. Confused, where did that come from? They looked at each other, and after a few moments of thinking, it hit them like a truck, the emotions of when he died protecting them. The juggernaut driver taking the hits to make sure they weren't hurt, helping them accept themselves. They started to cry. The memories of his love came rushing back. They realized he didn't need to say it. He showed them his love every day, and they spat it in his face and treated him like dirt. They got up and ran home to find him. With Issei. He's currently got weighted clothing on, doing some sword swings to get faster and better. He's attacking the dummy relentlessly, with his fists hitting it with a strength he's never used before, damaging his hands and dummy at the same time. Dreg. Partner, I have successfully prepared a spell to transform you for when you want to pull the pieces out after the fight. It's going to hurt, but it should be alright, and you should make a full recovery. Issei. Cool. Dreg. But I do have another worry. Issei. What is it? Dreg. I'll start from the beginning. When a dragon gets heartbroken as you have, they start to fall and either become evil or you die from a broken heart. It's called the falling. But by turning you into a full dragon, it should replace the devil portion, and you should be fine given the risk of maybe needing to retrain your new body, but you'll be free from her and both the curse. Issei. Works for me. Let's go further. We need to train more so we can beat Seraerg. Then let's do it. I haven't changed my mind. I'm leaving for good. Dreg. He's bottled up the emotions he's feeling. This isn't good, not good at all. Luckily he's got that angle with him, or the curse would have taken a worse effect. It'll work on the counters in the event the curse starts to affect him at a faster rate. I suppose he needs to vent a bit more to calm down. After his training with weights on to build his muscle, he didn't use any magic or the boosted gear. He continued for a few hours straight, after then looked at the time and saw what time it is. Issei. It's late, I should get some rest. He finished his set and then went to shower. He shed a few tears, while the hot water washed away the sweat and the pain from his body. It felt like the emotion was washed away as well. After he stood outside his bedroom door, he rested his head on the wall and pondered if he should go in or not, but decided to just go to a different room, instead not even wanting to see them. He got into the bed, closed his eyes and went to sleep, feeling numb and happy from the events of today drained him, and he just wanted this day to end. He had enough of it. But the girls a few moments ago. They are still awake waiting for his return. They feel guilty about their actions. They hurt him when all he did was love them. They sit in silence. If they had to speak they would break down. It got late. Then they felt his presence outside the room. They all got excited in hopes he would walk in. But he didn't. With a defeated look and a few tears in their eyes, they went to sleep. Rias. The bed is cold without you in it. What have I done? The Keno. We definitely messed up. I want to say sorry. But how do I do that after what I said to him? I really am a despicable woman. Asia. Why did we do that? I'm sure he was going to do the right thing, but we didn't want to listen to him. Zenobia. Perhaps I was in the wrong too much this time. I sided too quickly. He's grown so strong. I'd be happy with him to be my king. He already is. Kaneko. I overstepped too much towards him. He cares for me so much, and I probably put the final nail in the coffin. I doubt he will accept my apology. The next morning Issei woke up and got ready for school. He went to the kitchen and made himself some coffee and some food. Then his parents walked in a bit too happy for normal standards. Mickey. Happy morning Issei dear, how are you? Where are the girls? Issei. Not looking at them. I'm miserable and I don't know, nor do I care where they are. Boru. Confused my boy, how come you don't know? Issei. Not looking at them, haven't seen them since last night, so I won't bother trying to find out. His parents got visibly angry with him. Mickey walked closer with an angry look on her face and got into his eye line. Mickey. How can you say that you are so protective of all of them, now you don't care? What did you do to them? You ungrateful brat, what is it? The porn? It has to be, or are you cheating on them after all Rias has done for us? The girls came downstairs and heard the tail end of what Mickey just said to him. They saw him with his parents, but his parents didn't see them. Boru. We raised you better than this. How can you do this to them? You better go and apologize to them, or I'll bring down hell on you. Issei. Tell me, what did I exactly do? I have no intention of talking to either of them. Slap. Mickey had slapped him in front of all of them. The girls were surprised, and they didn't expect that from his mother. On the other hand, he didn't like that at all. Mickey. You are to apologize to them immediately. Issei looked at his mother, ready to raise his hand to her, but didn't. Instead, he took a deep breath and spoke. Issei. Angry, you know what, I'm done with this. He took his things and left. He stopped at the door and looked at the girls watching, then looked back at his so-called parents. Issei. Enjoy your daughters, and I'm leaving this family. I'm done with the two of you. He left the house. Irina took her things quickly and went after him, while the rest girls sat down speechless. They had never seen him like that with his parents. They didn't know what to think. Mickey. Oh, good morning girls, sorry if you saw what happened. That ungrateful brat needed to be brought down to earth again. Rias. Mother. Mickey raised her hand to Rias to make her stop talking. Mickey. No, don't say anything. When that brat comes to his senses, then it will all be better. They all started shedding tears except Roswis. Roswis. They made it worse, and they don't even see it. This is bad. Hopefully Irina can calm him down a bit. She looked at all of them and only saw guilt on their faces. But Issei. He's walking to school irritated and agitated with everything. He's walking in silence. He then hears footsteps behind him. As he turns, Irina goes straight for the bear-crushing hug and starts apologizing to him. Irina crying, I'm sorry they did that to you. Issei. Relax Irina, it's fine, they made their choices. It's clear without knowing the truth, it's on them, not me. It just hurts they wouldn't take my side at all. But who am I kidding? They haven't been my parents for a while. Want to help me look for a house later? I need to get out of that place. Irina. Sure, I'd love to, but why don't we first take your mind off things first? The green gem grew on his hand and they heard a voice. Greg. Why not indulge in something else that takes your mind off things before I came along? Irina. Oh yes, Sniff, I'd love to hear you sing again. Do you still sing? It's been a while. He looked at her smile and wiped her tears and remembered that he was an okay singer and remembered Mickey had him learn how to play the piano and guitar. Issei. Well, music helps now and again, let's go, but you need to eat something first my dear. He held Irina's hand and they stopped at a store to get Irina something to eat first. Before they got to the school, Issei paid for her and didn't listen to her protests, so she would pay for herself. They arrived at school and went to the music room, which was still set up from the last practice that was had in the room. He sat down at the piano while Irina sat next to him and he started playing. The rest of the girls arrived at the school and started intently looking for him. They found him with Irina. They walked in while he sang. They kept it quiet so as not to disturb him and watch him sing. It surprised them that they could dance so well too and still play instruments on top of it too. As he played, they started to feel worse about how they treated him. They didn't account for his feelings. Now they seeing it in full. They also watched as Irina rested her head on his shoulder and kiss his cheek. They felt bad that they hurt him like this. When he finished, he took a deep breath and looked at Irina next to him. Issei. How that felt good. Maybe I should do it more, but I better pack this up before I get in trouble. Irina. That was fantastic darling, you should sing more. Issei. Only for you then. Smiles. He kissed her cheek and she smiled at him before they could be noticed. They left heartbroken that he wouldn't sing for them and now they see his true feelings. Issei. They suck at hiding, don't you think? Irina. you said it. They went to class which was starting in a few minutes, so he prepared himself and started reading about meditation, while Irina sat at her desk watching him. It surprised a lot of his classmates that he was trying to meditate and not reading or looking at pornos for a change. Zinovia tried talking to him, but he flat out ignored her. Same with Asia, they could see something happen between them, but didn't know what. During lunch, he sat with Saji who was updated on the incident. He could see the change, and it hurt him to see his friend like that. He didn't bring anything up, but did talk about the rating game and if he has any tricks up his sleeve. After school he didn't go to the orc club room like normal, instead he went to go look for a house with Irina. But the girls, they are currently walking to the club room. Once opening it they saw the mess. They thought someone had come in and messed up the place. They started to shed tears, thinking that someone still had to do this. Well, they already had a lot on their plate. It was so bad, they just broke down, not able to hold it in anymore. Akeno tearing up, we can't keep hurting him like this. Sniff, I can't keep it in anymore. Sniff. Rias tearing up, I'm such a fool. Sniff, why did I hurt him like this? Kaneko holding it together. Sniff, what's that on your desk? Rias. They moved to the desk and saw the ring. Rias broke down in tears, so did Akeno. The others were a bit confused. Zinovia tearing up, what's wrong with the ring? Sniff. Akeno crying, it's the Gremory family ring, only Ria's father had before Surziches used it. It looks like he gave it to Issei to give to Rias. It's a sign of acceptance into the family, but it's here, it's not on Ria's finger, and he's not here with him, he has left us for good. They realized what this meant. He was done with them. They started to shed more tears and then decided to quickly go back home to find him to apologize to him before it was too late. But Issei, after finding a place to move to, he along with Irina and Ravel went house hunting with him. They met Ravel before they left. Ravel did try and apologize to him for what happened, but he flicked her forehead and she had a tick mark looking at him, but he told her it wasn't her fault for anything that happened, and the three went house hunting. They found a small 2-bedroom apartment and it was close to the school and a bit far from his house, which was good. He signed the documents and then paid the deposit. He signed it under student residence, so they don't need to get any adults involved because it's a learning curve for students to handle things on their own. After that Ravel had to go home to see her mother and said she will be back later to help with training, and then Irina had to go check in with Lord Michael, so Issei went home and went to train. Once he got home he ran into his mother. Mickey, Petty thought you were done with this family. She mocked his words and tried to hurt him more, but he didn't let it get to him and spoke. Issei, I found a place to stay and I'm moving end of the week, or as soon as I'm notified I can get the keys, then you won't ever see me again. The calmness in his voice shocked Mickey. She thought he was going to go off at her or be a teenager and argue with he, but he didn't. He walked past her and some guilt fell upon her that she didn't like. Issei then went to the training room. He put on weighted clothing and started to work out and start fighting with a dummy. He was going hard, putting all his strength into his throws, kick swings, everything. His body started to wake up, his muscles burning, his instincts took over, and a golden aura creating heat in the room formed around him, and scales grew all over his body. On his last strike, he blasted both dummies away into the wall, and he fell to his knees panting. By the time the girls found him he was drenched in sweat and panting heavily. They ran to him, tears running. Rias. Issei. Angry, save it, don't want to hear it, nor am I the mood to hear anything from either of you. Rias. Worried, Issei, why don't you take a break, you look tired. Issei. Angry, no, you should all get off your assess and train. I'm fighting Sererg, not you, so let me be. He pulled his arm away from their grasp, turned away from them, and took off the weighted clothing. Irina and Ravel walked in with Roswis. They saw him take off the clothing, then they all heard a hard thud hit the ground and saw his physique changing to becoming more muscular, and the lines of his abs started to show. He grabbed a towel and started to wipe his face clean. As he did so the scales that Bruce started to shed off his body and break away like they never existed. The girls each started to blush and began to be turned on by him, who stood there looking at him, either fidgeting or rubbing their thighs together. Issei caught them looking and went off at them again. Issei. Angry, what is it? Why are you just standing there, get to work. Rias. Blushing, you look hot, very hot. Issei. Thanks. He kept a blank face, and it hurt Rias to see he was not even taking a compliment like he used to anymore. Irina. Darling, you look very handsome like this. Issei. Smiles, thank you, Irina, now I need to go shower. Akeno. Want us to join you? Issei. No. He left them all in the training room and went to shower. They felt bad he was not showing them the same affection they once knew. He doesn't even look at them anymore. Roswis. Blushing, I'll admit him being in control like that is a really nice thing to see on any man. Akeno. Blushing, me too, but he doesn't seem interested in either of us now, only Irina. Kaneko. I'm sure if Roswis said something he would have had a smile. Roswis grew a bit of a blush but shook it off. Ravel. I knew things were bad, but after we went house hunting and found him a place it seems reasonable now. I would do the same if I were in his shoes. They all looked at her confused, almost like she was speaking a different language. Asia. Confused, come again, I don't think I heard you correctly. Ravel. I said he has a new place to stay, I helped him pick it too. Irina. Yeah, it's a nice place, I want to move in with him. Smiles. Rias. Tearing up, he can't leave, I need to fix things with him, I took him for granted, and now it's too late, I'm such a fool. She took a deep breath trying to calm herself. Rias. Determined, no, I won't let that happen, we need to train like hell, and after the fight with Seraerg and the festival we apologize, and hopefully it's not too late. Girls. Sounds good. Ravel. I wish you guys luck, I need to go home now, bye. She left and the others all started training. Issei is outside the gym door listening. Issei. How they think I'll forgive them that easily. He walked to the bathroom, but his parents saw him. Mickey wanted to stop him, but before she could, he stopped her before she could say anything. Issei. Don't touch me, you don't even deserve to call me your son right now. And left them in the passageway and went to get done. Afterward he went to a different room than the night before and got ready to sleep. Issei. I still feel numb. He closed his eyes and drifted off to sleep. It was another night without him in the bed with them. The girls felt like they lost him before they even had him with determined eyes. They looked at each other and went to sleep. But his parents, they now see how they hurt him a lot and want to make it right, but it may be too late to try to fix it. They sat with a heavy heart thinking of where they went wrong. Backlash. The next morning Issei woke up and a pure high-pitched whining in his ears, his mind void of any thoughts. He sat up in the bed and his arms had a weird pain shooting through them. He looked at his arms and saw black veins growing on his arms taking scale form and other scales taking formation on other parts of his body. Issei. Dreg. What's troubling you? Issei. My arms. Dreg. It's the falling, it seems like your fall is the dying fall. Issei. What if we do the transformation now? Dreg. There is a 50-50 shot of it failing, it hardly worked with other users that went down this path, we can try, but it might kill you, I want you to think about it first before I do it. Issei. Fair, but what do we do about this? He traced one of the veins with his finger and he could feel a tingling feeling from the vein. He then traced some of the scales and they felt sharp but also as stiff as a stone. Dreg. I won't lie about it, this is bad, the other dragons around you will feel the fall and react accordingly to their relationships with you. Issei. Fitting. I have a numbness in my soul, so this is kind of fitting that I'm dying, so it looks like they are where the death of me. Perfect. Dreg. I'll try and see if there is a way to either slow it down or stop it entirely. But I would suggest telling someone that you can confide in, it can help settle the nerves while I look into either perfecting the transformation or find a way to slow this down. Issei. I'll see how today goes. Maybe. I don't know yet. Dreg. Rest up, Issei, this isn't going to be your end, that much I promise you. Issei. Thanks, Dreg. He looked at the room he was in and then took in the room and saw how empty it felt. It wasn't even like he was in the room itself, it was cold and empty. He just walked to the training ground and then did a few morning stretches, then started some weights training. He started with his arms and then pain rushed through his body and he dropped the weight and held his arm and winced in pain. Issei. In pain, damn it. He held his arm where the veins formed and held it in pain and fell over, trying not to let out a scream on the floor. Dreg. Breath. Take deep breaths and relax as best you can, it should subside. Your body is slowly giving up and it's going to become weaker than you are the more you strain your body. I suggest not doing any training for the time being, it could possibly speed up the process and shorten your life even further. He nodded and started to control his breathing and let the pain subside. After a few minutes he started to feel better, yet his body was still filled with pain, but it was manageable for him. Issei. I need to be stronger to fight Seraerg, I have to show him how strong I can get. Dreg. After Kyoto, you've unlocked your true strength in a sense, and you would have gotten stronger, but due to current circumstances you can't, or you'll only end up killing you faster. In the end, the strain the promotions give may be your downfall altogether, so try and keep your life longer, and maybe it will give me time to see if we can prevent this. Issei. Fine, but just that little bit made it spread. Look. Moving along his arms to his chest and slowly onto his back and legs. Issei. No one can see this, I don't need fake affection from any of them. Dreg. Agreed, then I suggest not doing anything that will strain you, but talk to either the angel, the phoenix girl or even the Valkyrie, they seem to have your best interest. Issei. If Irina moves in with me then maybe she and Ravel, I'll tell Raswa-sensei, but I'm not sure how she could handle it, she's a lot like Irina, they are both soft souls, even Ravel, she wouldn't say it herself, but I see it, but honestly, I don't want people feeling sorry for me, I don't want anyone's pity. Dreg. Spoken like a true dragon, but Albion's and Vritra's hosts will see it when they see you and tell their hosts. Issei. Then they will know, by then I'll be gone. He got changed and wore a long shirt to cover up the markings growing on his arms and his body. He sat in the lounge looking at the furniture in his new apartment and what he should change or fix. Issei. It's nice, simple and enough, maybe change it up if I'm still around, the place is cheap enough to look after and I have enough money. Dreg. It's up to you, partner. Issei then stood in the window way and watched the sunrise and stood with his thoughts. Useless, pathetic, perverted idiot, ungrateful brat, jackass, you won't ever have any women in your life. A few tears ran down his face. They killed him, and right now there was nothing that he could do but just sit around, and fighting Seraerd might just be his last thread. He felt a pair of arms around him. His heart raced from their touch. He loved having her arms around him, but the presence behind him he wanted to hit. He looked back and saw Rias holding him. Rias. Issei. Issei. Get off me, nothing you say now will change anything. Even when he really needed to be held, he pulled her arms off him and walked away. She stood there with tears in her eyes, and heartbroken. The impact of her actions was showing, and she didn't know how to fix it. All she wanted to do was hold him and feel his warmth from his body, but even she did hold him, he felt cold to the touch. Issei went to his room feeling nothing, no anger, no sadness, no hatred, just a numbing feeling at the back of his head. Issei. Now I'm wanted around. He opened his door to find them still in his room, either waking up or changing. They didn't scream, but looked happy to see him, but he didn't even look in their direction. He took his uniform and left and shut the door. Asia. Sad we hurt him so much. Zenobia. We were unfair to him, now he won't even look at us. Kaneko. Sad, I think I struck a chord when I said he won't have any women in his life. Zenobia. What's wrong with us? With Issei. He was just walking, not really thinking. He opened a random door, then walked in and closed the door. When he turned around, he saw Ross was naked and still getting dressed in her suit. She just looked at him and a blush grew on her face. He also grew a blush, then turned around instantly. She was about to scream, but he spoke first. Issei. Blushing, I'm really sorry, I wasn't thinking straight and I just walked in without knocking. Ross was blushing. It's fine, but can you? Issei. Can I talk to you about something? Ross was concerned. What is it? He could hear concern in her voice, but kept his mind clear and took a deep breath before he spoke. Issei. Before I tell you, please keep an open mind, but first finish. I'll keep looking this way, it's important. Ross was slight blush. Okay. She continued to finish getting dressed. Issei didn't dare make a noise to not make her uncomfortable. He just rested his head on the door and focused on his breathing. His lungs started to get tight. His chest felt like it was constricting the more he forced his body to something. Ross was okay, I'm done. He turned around and saw her dressed in her suit and her hair was done slightly differently, but he didn't say anything. Ross was. How are you feeling since the other day? Your attitude towards them completely changed. Does what you want to talk about have to do something that? Issei. Yes, it does. And my attitude change towards them is valid. They killed me. Ross was trying to stay calm. Please elaborate. Issei took off his shirt and she saw black marks taking scale form on his body, with the veins running around his limbs. Issei. This is my body dying. Before you say anything, let me fully explain. She nodded with tears building in her eyes. Issei. You see, dragons are emotional creatures, and as such when a dragon gets hurt by a mate it has very negative effects. We either turn evil or die. I'm dying, I'm getting weaker as we speak. Drake found a way to save me, but it's not a permanent solution right now, it could also kill me. I'm just so tired tearing up, I don't want to die, there's still so much I want to do, but they killed me. Crying after I fight Seraerd, I could very much drop dead and not get up. I'm scared, I don't know what to do anymore. He just stood there with tears running down his face. Ross wasn't feeling any better. She had a few tears of her own. Issei became a good friend to her, and now she was going to have to watch him die. She came and brought him into a hug and he held her tight and she did the same. Ross was trying to stay calm. Issei sniffed. Who else knows? Issei. Crying, you dragon. Myself. Ross was. Why don't I tell Serziches or even Azazel about your condition? Issei. Crying, telling anyone else will only give me a little time and more fake love from the others in this god-forsaken house. He gripped tighter on her shirt and she tightened her grip on him and just held him to help him relax. Ross was calming down. Okay, take a deep breath. If there's nothing to do, then we live your life to the fullest in the next few days before the fight, but I would suggest telling Ravel and Irina. Irina clearly loves you the most and Ravel is meant to be looked after by you, so your death would also affect her a lot. Issei. Calming down. I'll tell them when I move out. I'm pretty sure Irina is going to follow me, and Ravel too. I'll tell them then. I might end up moving tomorrow morning, and I would like you to come visit, please. She let go of him and looked him in the eyes. She could see how broken he was about this. Ross was. Before we leave for school, mind if I try some helping or try to conceal it for you? Issei. Sure, go ahead. He sat on the edge of her bed and she sat behind him and tried some healing magic on him, but Issei winced in pain and they saw that the veins slowly started spreading again. A green gem grew off his hand, it glowed green and Drake's voice could be heard. Drake. I thought as much, I'll keep looking, partner, but it doesn't look like healing magic will heal you. Roswis. And sage magic. Drake. Unclear about it, we would have to try it, but with someone who has experience, I would suggest the Osaka in Kyoto or that black cat if need be. Issei. Tired, we can handle it later, let's go to school. Issei's body felt exhausted and tired, like he hadn't slept for the past few days. He could feel himself getting more and more tired, too fast for comfort. Rias could see it on his face. His fatigue was serious. Rias, are you sure you will be able to handle school today? She put the back of her hand toward his forehead, and his body was cold, very cold. Some would think he was dead. She had a very concerned look on her face, but she saw a light in his eye that made her think otherwise. Issei. Tired? Yeah, I'm sure, but I'm also sure Sona would find out through Saji. Dragons can feel when a dragon is falling, so they would probably make me go home to rest and not do anything, but I still want to go. Rias. Alright, then I'll still be keeping an eye on you though. Issei. Tired, and I appreciate it, thank you sensei. He bowed and left. Rias. He's changed a lot. As Issei left Rias's room, he took a deep breath and then went in search of Irina. He walked around aimlessly, the thoughts of wanting to be more, to do more, and even be somebody he could be happy with completely shattered. He was lost motivation to do a lot of things. School didn't even seem to what wonderful to even continue to have an accomplishment anymore. The void in his chest grew and it felt horrible. Issei. He turned and saw his mother and father standing behind him looking guilty. Issei. Tired? What is it, wanting to belittle me even more? Nikki. It's not that at all. I want to apologize to you. What we did was unfair to you, and I don't want you to leave, please, my baby. Auro. Yes, son, please don't leave, we want you around. Issei. Tired. Too little too late, the damage is done. I'll never see you as my parents, not after you sided with strangers, rather than your own flesh and blood. You made a choice, I made mine, I'm leaving, and there's nothing you can do about it. He walked away, leaving them alone in the hallway. His tone was cold and empty of emotion, as if he didn't care about anything anymore. It broke Mika's heart seeing the cold look in his eyes and lack of emotion. She couldn't help but feel guilty for hurting him like this. Nikki. Tearing up. What have we done? Auro. Sad, he's right when I think about it. When last have we done anything nice or good for him? When last did we even tell him we love him? Nikki. Crying more. We're horrible parents, we haven't even spent time with him personally. He even brought girls home, and the first thing we did was give them our love and attention, and not towards him. Auro. Sad, there has to be a way to fix this. Issei walked downstairs and found Irina and Ravel talking. He walked towards them and tried to look okay for them, but not give it away too much yet. Issei. Tired morning, you too. When did you get here? Ravel. Ravel. This morning, I wanted to see you and see how you're holding up. Issei. Tired, I'm miserable. Irina. Concerned. What happened, darling? Issei. Tired, I'll tell you when I move out, promise. Smiles. Seeing him smile calmed them down a bit, knowing he was hurting a lot, but something was off. They could see really is miserable, but don't want to make him feel pressured into anything by prying right now. Irina. When are you moving? Issei. Tired, soon. I hope. I hate being in this house. Ravel. Let me know what I can help with, please. Issei. Don't worry, I'm only taking clothes, and that's it, the place is furnished already, remember? Irian. Thinking back. Oh yay. Ravel. Hey Irina, are you going to move with him? She smiled and nodded and held his hand. She could feel the cool touch of his, but just held his hand tighter to try and warm it up. He held her hand tight as well. Irina. Happy, it's been a dream of mine to live with the one I love. Being here didn't feel right. Issei. Tired, I agree. Ravel, what about you? Want to move in too? If Irina doesn't mind, we can share a room and you can have the other one to yourself. Irina. Happy. Oh, I don't mind at all. Ravel, surprised. Are you being serious? The other girls started coming down. They could hear Issei's voice carrying down the stairwell, and they could hear how he spoke. He was more energetic with Irina and Ravel than them. Issei. Tired, yeah, why not? I made a promise to look after you, and moving with me will make it easier. Ravel. Happy, then I'll move in the day after you move in. Irina. Happy, this is going to be so fun. Zenobia. Confused, what's going on? Issei, why is she moving with you? Issei. Tired, none of your concern for either of you. He spoke with authority, and it made them feel uncomfortable. They sat down, and then Issei stood up. Issei. I'll see you later at school, I need to go talk to Saji about something. He kissed Irina and messed up Ravel's hair. Ravel. Angry, Baka, don't mess up my hair. Issei, smiling too late. He left and left all the girls alone. Asia. He's becoming even more distant from us. Rias. I don't know what to do. Nikki. But I have an idea. They all looked at his mother. He clearly had been crying. But Issei, he took a fast walk to the school. He would use magic, but if it was going to kill him, rather not unless it was needed, and went straight to the student council. On inside of the room, they were all working diligently. Then Momo saw Saji start crying. Momo, concerned, Gen-kun, is something wrong? They all looked at him, shedding tears with a concerned look. Saji. Slightly crying. Issei, no. The door opened and lo and behold, Issei stood in it. They could see the dead look in his eyes, and Saji put down his work and went, and the two left, no questions asked. Sona. What was that about? Tsubaki. Do you wish for some if we go see it? Sona. No, given recent events I believe it's a dragon thing. They can feel the emotion to a greater extent, so Issei probably just needs a friend. Tomo. I still can't believe they did that to Issei though. Sona. I agree, but let's get done, school starts soon. But the two dragons. They both just walked to a secluded part of the school, and Saji really broke. Saji crying, no please don't tell me, Vritra told me as you came, please tell me it's a lie. Issei. Sad, no it's real, look. Issei raised his sleeve, and Saji saw the black scales on his arms. Issei. Tired, it's spread all over my body, look it's part of the reason why I asked you here. Saji. Then why? Issei. Tired, I want you to tell Serafal without telling Sona, I need help and I don't need Surzich's knowing yet and I believe Serafal can help me. Saji. But I wouldn't be able to do that without Sona knowing something or stopping me entirely. Issei. Tired, tell her it's a dragon matter and that Issei wants it to be kept to a certain few and tell her Issei was at the cafe, she'll know what I mean. I want you to tell Serafal to look into dragon healing magic. Saji. Oh alright, but why? Issei. Tired, Drake made a spell to help me, but it got too high of a chance to kill me, and right now healing magic is killing me faster. We want to try sage magic, but then I need to go to Yasaka or Kuroka. Saji. You brave to go to that cat for help, but you never know, it might just be the reason you live. Issei. Tired, but please have her look into dragon healing and let me know what you find. Saji. Of course, man, I won't let you down. Issei nodded and then the two went their separate ways. Saji went back to the council room. And they all looked concerned for him, even Sona showed some concern but kept her cool about the situation. Saji. Sona, may I request a meeting with Mo Leviathan? Sona. Raised eyebrow, why? Saji. It's a personal matter between Issei and I. Sona. If he wants to talk to her, he can come ask me personally. Saji. He was at the cafe. Sona's eyes went wide and the rest of the peerage saw this. A few of the girls with that day's eyes widened as well, realizing the position they were in now. Saji. Wow, that worked. What did they all do? They all look shocked. Sona. Concerned, very well, but I would request to be brought in as well. I want to help in any regard. Saji. So be it, we need to work fast, we don't have time. There was a determined look on his face, he's never been this serious before, and to the girls it looked good on him. But Issei, he walked to class and sat down. There were already some people in the class, being Akia, Kadis and Mayamura. Akia. Hey Haidu, not trying to peek at any girls today. Issei. Tired, it's not Haidu, I left my old family. Kadis. Confused, what, why? Issei. Tired, reasons that don't concern you, now leave me alone, it hasn't been a good few days. He rested his head on his arms and tried to keep to himself. Irina, Zenobia and Asia walked in. The three walked to him. When Asia and Zenobia tried to touch him, he just pulled away from them. They then walked away with sad faces, but Irina, she held him and made him feel comfortable. Hadis. Hey, what's going on? Normally those four are close, but now he hasn't given them the time of day. Akia. Mayamura. Issei, are you dying? The class looked at her and then at him with shocked faces. His current appearance wasn't looking great. Irina had a concerned look on her face and held his hand, and this time her heart was racing. His skin was ice cold to the touch, this time worse than this morning. He slowly raised his head and looked at her and gave her a soft smile. She then came and stood behind him. Issei. Tired, what gives you that idea? Akia. You're looking pale, very pale. He could see it on her face, she was concerned about his current appearance, and he could feel the grip Irina holding his hand. Issei. Tired, like I said, none of your concern, plus even if I was, I wouldn't want your pity. No one in this class is my friend, and I'm 90% sure none of you personally even like to talk to me, so again, leave me alone. This struck a chord in the class. They saw a side of him they didn't even know existed. Zenobia and Asia started to fear the worst for him. Mayamura. Then what about Irina, isn't she your friend? Issei. Tired, no, she's not. She's my girlfriend. Irina just blushed and smiled, then wrapped her arms around his neck and kissed his cheek. It shocked the class a lot that Irina was his girlfriend. Zenobia and Asia couldn't even think straight anymore, they just felt empty inside. After a long school day, Issei walked to the Orc Club room. Upon entering, they all felt happy that he was coming back here and hoped that they could fix it. He walked in and they smiled at him. Rias happy. Hello Issei. Issei. Tired. I'm leaving the Orc, I don't have time for it, nor do I want to be here, I've only come for Ravel. Come on Ravel, I got the keys early, we can move in now. Ravel. Surprised. Oh okay, let's go. She quickly started packing her things. Issei. Tired. Yeah, let's go. Irina already waiting for us. They two left, leaving the whole club confused. Akeno and Kiba were beyond shocked. Asia and Zenobia started to shed tears along with Rias, while Kaneko was just lost in thought. Akeno shocked, tearing up. Did he just? Kiba shocked. Yeah, he did. Asia crying, he's left us for good. Sniff. Zenobia tearing up, this can't happen. Rias. Tearing up, no, I refuse for him to leave my side, we may need to try that idea of mother's. She got up and her peerage followed her. But Issei and Ravel, they quickly got back to the apartment and Irina was inside boiling some water for them. Issei. Tired. We are back. Irina. Smiles. Welcome back my love, and hello Ravel, it's good to see you. Issei. Tired. Right, before we do anything I need to talk to the two of you about smoothing. Important. They could see the look of concern on both their faces, he could hear their hearts beating more as he brought up the topic. Ravel. Worried, is everything okay? Issei. Tired? No, it's not in the slightest. The girls could feel that something was off. His neutral appearance went to that of despair and hopelessness. Irina. Concerned? Darling, are you okay? Ravel. Concerned? What's going on? Issei took a deep breath and spoke. He told them everything. Their eyes widened, and then their tears started forming. They even started crying. Irina just held him, crying her heart out, and Ravel couldn't find the strength to hold his hand. It hurt them a lot. He was a special person to the both of them in different ways. For Irina, the love of her life, and Ravel, a close friend that's changed her life a lot. Ravel. Crying. Please let me try. Phoenix tears. Issei. Tired? Don't, please don't, the magic is only going to aggravate it and only kill me faster. Sage magic is the only one out of everything. It's the one thing. Drake is probably going to be the safest, but I don't know what I'm going to do anymore. He sunk into the couch and the girls just hugged his sides and he wrapped his arms around them. They could feel how cold he was. It only made them cry more knowing that Hess slowly dying in front of them. Irina. Crying. Please don't fight. I know it's a selfish request, but please, I can't lose you. Her wings started turning gray and he just put his hand on her head to make her look at him. Issei. Tired? I have to, as much as it could kill me. I made a promise to Sarah that we will have a good fight and I'll give it to him. Please, I know how much you love me and I love you too, but I have to, not for her but for myself, to prove how strong I've become, even if it kills me. Ravel crying. What if you die while fighting? I'm sure Surzich's Sama and the others would postpone it to try and get you more time. He will move the whole of the underworld to make sure you survive. Issei. Tired? I know he would, but I don't want the people who killed me to have a chance to talk to me. I don't want them to get close to me, but now I just need to try and get through a day at a time, or I'm cut even shorter. Irina. No, Sniff, you're not going to school. Sniff, if you're going to fight we need you to rest and save your energy. Ravel. Sniff. I agree, please let us look after you, it's the least we can do because you've done a lot for us. Issei. Tired? Fine, I'll stay. But you two aren't missing out on school. Got it, I'll just sleep or talk with Drake or see if Saji has anything for me. Irina. What is he doing for you? She started wiping her face, trying to be strong for him. Ravel slowly started doing the same, trying to make him feel better. Issei. Tired? I told him to talk to Seraphil if she can find a way to heal a dying dragon. I told him to keep it confidential between him and her and Sona if she insists on helping. Ravel. But for the time being we are keeping you alive the best we can. Issei. Thank you, you two, it means a lot. They both hugged him and he hugged them back. It slowly brought back some warmth to his body and they could feel him becoming warmer. Back at the Haidu mansion later that night, they all sat in silence. They were all dressed up, hoping to impress him with both his parents, and the girls just had sad looks on their faces, realizing he was not coming back to the house. Rias sad. Hopefully we can talk soon. Unleashed. Issei woke up one morning. The feeling of pain washed over his body and his muscles ached from the pain. The overwhelming numbness he felt was starting to grow. He knew this was death calling for him. If he turned evil he would be getting stronger, not weaker. He took a deep breath before he got up. He felt a presence in his room. Then he felt someone holding him. He opened his eyes and saw Irina next to him, holding on to him for dear life. He could feel the warmth coming from her and how warm it made him feel better, but broke his heart for her. Issei. I wish I could treat her better, but with the way things are going, I'll have to treat her the best I can tonight. It's the least I can do for her. He pulled her closer to him and she snuggled and smiled in her sleep and got comfortable in his new body warmth. That night he slowly started getting warmer as they slept. He stayed like this for a bit, then after 10 minutes he kissed her forehead and went to the living room and made a place for him to sit on the couch. As he got the space ready, Drake spoke to him. Drake. Ice, we could try the transformation I made. It's one of the few things that may save you, but I thought about it. Phoenix tears, they could help slow down the spread because they rebuild the body, not fix it. It's worth a shot. The reason I'm bringing it up is there is nothing other than myself slowing it down, and if you fight we going to need to have another thing to fall back on. Issei. I want to, I really do, but if it doesn't work and it kills me, or it only speeds up the fall and I have less time with them, plus she would feel like she made my time shorter. Issei then sat down and started meditating to try and calm down his body and to find an inner peace about the situation. Greg. Understood, partner, but you know that new promotion you have, we haven't tried it. It's going to be one hell of a learning curve during the game, but we can't risk it now. It should be fun using it. Issei. Yay, one hell of a way to go out, but hey, it was something I loved about my life, like meeting you and everyone else. I sure things aren't good now, but I'll take everything that happened over in normal life any day. Greg. If things are cut short, I want you to know I'll mentally abuse my next host. They won't come close to anything you've done. You were my first friend in a long time. I want to say thank you for everything. Issei. No problem. Chuckles. Have some last bit of fun. Yay. To the outside world, Ravel and Irina saw him meditating and saw a small smile on his face. They could only assume that Drake was trying to make him feel better. They had small smiles to see him smiling, but their hearts only felt the pain and sorrow from knowing the truth. Irina. We should call Raswa-sensei. I'm sure she would like to at least see him doing well before the fight. Ravel. Yeah, I agree, but should we let those ones know? They looked at each other for a bit, but in the end, neither of them knew if they should or not. It made things complicated which they knew he didn't want to deal with. Issei. It's your choice, I'm not going to stop you from telling them, but Ravel. She looked at him with a slight blush. Ravel. Yeah. Issei. Drake wants me to try a phoenix tear to help me. Ravel. Oh, okay, let me go get one. She quickly went to her room and came back with a vial containing the tear and gave it to Issei. Issei. Deep breath, please don't hurt like shit. He took it and for a few seconds it didn't do anything. Then he gritted his teeth and shoved a pillow into his mouth to keep him from screaming. The two got scared not knowing what to do, but they saw the marks on his arm slowly became less. They didn't go away, but the amount decreased. Issei. Out of breath, why must things hurt me like this? Dragon, what did it do? Arena. I saw the marks on your arms become less. Happy, I think it worked. Ravel. Happy it helped. Drake. Yes, Phoenix girl, it did, but know this, it didn't recover the life force it was taking from him, but instead slowed it down enough he's more likely to live after the fight, but for how long I'm not too sure. What could happen from now on, but I will monitor it for you eyes. Issei. Tears running. Sniff. I'm not going to die so quickly. Sniff. I have more time. The two girls came to hug with tears of their own. Arena. Tearing up. I'm so happy it slowed down. Sniff. Ravel. Happy. See, I told you to try a tear, but you said no, it would make it worse. Issei. Happy, you know, it still hurts me a lot. Ravel. Happy still, see you're fine now. Issei smiling. Now both of you get to school, I won't have you be late. Both. Alright, fine. Arena gave him a hug and a kiss, and Ravel gave him a big hug. When the door shut, Issei took a knee and tried not to scream, but he was still in incredible pain. He tried to catch his breath, but he was feeling slightly better and stronger too. Greg. It looks like the tear is physically pulling back the effects of the fall and rebuilding what was taken, but for how long it lasts is beyond me. I still think you should relax for the day. Issei. Out of breath. Alright, let's have something to eat first. I'm surprisingly very hungry. I don't think I ate last night. He got up and went to get some food. Arena and Ravel are both walking to the school feeling happy about what they figured out this morning. A large weight was lifted off of them, but the thought of losing him wasn't too great. Ravel. I think we should tell Saji that a phoenix tear managed to slow down the effects for a bit. Arena. You're right, we should, but should we tell the others? Ravel. I know you can't get angry per se, but I think I speak for the both of us. They don't deserve anything from us or him right now. I'm not sure if he will forgive them right now. Arena. But they still are our friends. Ravel. Yeah, they are, but they still hurt him. Let's first see how he is after the fight, and if he wants to forgive them then we support him. But right now he kept it secret with only a few people knowing, so let's keep it that way because it's what he wanted right now, and if they ask we can tell them that he's still angry. Arena. I guess you're right, but still if they do ask, we should tell them something at least. There was a look of concern on her face, but Ravel had other plans. Ravel. We tell them he's still angry. Arena. I suppose that works. They walked in silence for a bit, then they heard more footsteps behind them and saw Rias and her peerage looking in good spirits and ready for the upcoming game. Rias. Happy. Oh, morning. Arena. Ravel. How are you this morning? Arena. Happy. Oh, I'm great, thanks. Ravel. Happy. Same with me, things have been great lately. They saw a small frown fall on their happy faces, but then their happy faces came back. Bekeno. Happy, that's good. Rias. I have a question about Issei. Is he ready for tomorrow? It's a big day for all of us. I would like to know if he's ready or not. Ravel. He's ready. He's not coming in today though, he had something to look into this morning, so he's going to be a bit busy. Arena nodded in agreement and the others nodded with sad faces. Asia. Sad. Oh, I thought we could see him as a form of encouragement before the game. Ravel. Don't worry about it, you'll see him tomorrow long before the game, so it's alright. They all had smiles again. They had a feeling that he was going to be better towards them again, and maybe they could talk to him again. They got to the school and Rias and her peerage went to the club room, while Arena and Ravel went to the student council room. They opened the door and saw Saji asleep with Sona's head on his shoulder, also asleep holding onto his arm with a lot of papers scattered around. Ravel. Arena, before you do anything. She took out her phone, took a few pictures and sent them to Issei. Ravel. Now you can wake them up. Arena walked up to them and made her holy presence known, and it slowly woke them up. They started to wake up and then looked at the position both of them were in, then they quickly put space between them and started blushing at each other. Saji. Blushing morning. Sona. Sona. Blushing morning. Genshuru. Saji. How long were we like that? Sona. I'm not sure. There was silence, then Arena spoke up, alerting them they were not alone. Arena. I would give or take a few hours at the least. Sona looked so comfy holding you, Saji. They looked to the side and saw Arena and Ravel looking at them with smiles on their faces. They both blushed. Saji stood up with a panicked look on his face. Saji. Panicking. Don't tell Issei. Ravel. Smiling. Don't worry, we won't. Sona. Good, now then, is something wrong? Arena. Well, what do you know? Sona. That he's falling and Rias and her peerage are to blame and that he's going to die soon. Ravel. pretty much it, but this morning he wanted to try a phoenix tear, and it helped him. It took away most of the marks on his arms, not sure about the rest of his body, it seems to have a good effect on him. Saji. Well, last night we did find some information about how it helps dragons a lot, but it is not a solution, not yet at least. Lady Seraphil doesn't know much about dragons and is currently looking into it, but so far we all know the same amount about them. They all had concerned looks on their faces and Irina. Well, we just wanted you update you guys on the current state of things. I'll let Issei know about what you guys found. Sona. How is he holding up? Sona knows the situation was bad and wants to know the full extent of the damage. She knows she said some bad things about him as well, but what Rias did was way worse. Ravel. We all cried tears of happiness this morning when we saw it's making a good difference. Sona. That's good, at least he seems to be in high spirits. He's not in today, is he? Irina. No, any straining himself could make things worse, and we all know after the fight he's going to be in an even worse state, but all we can do is hope that it turns out alright. Saji. My thoughts exactly, we will handle the knot at school, but you two get to class, you going to be late. Ravel. Alright, see you two later, and don't make out in the council room. The two blushed and Irina and Ravel left, leaving them alone. Their blush grew and they looked at each other and made eye contact. Saji. I need to get to class, Sona, I'll be back during the break to clean up. Sona blushing. Alright, Saji. She realized when she woke up she said his first name when normally she always uses his last name. There was a weird feeling spreading around her body. She didn't like it because she didn't know what it is. He bowed and left for his class. Sona. Looks like he's becoming more mature in a sense, not bad. Saji. In class, Irina was on her phone talking to Issei. He told her that he wanted to make food, but then realized that there was no food in the house, and he went out on a walk to the market to get some. She smiled at the text, but it didn't go unnoticed. Everything alright, Irina? She looked toward the voice and saw Asia and Zenobia looking at her with curious faces. Irina. Smiling. Yeah, it's alright. Issei wanted something to eat and forgot we didn't buy any food for the house, so he went to go and get some. Asia. Hey Irina. Irina. Yes, Asia. Irina could see the look in Asia's eyes. She was guilt-ridden and she hated herself. Asia. We hurt him a lot, didn't we? Irina. Yes, you did, sadly. Zenobia. We know saying sorry isn't going to cut it, but we still want to be better and make things right with him, but we are stuck. We can't make any progress when he doesn't talk to any of us, but you and Ravel and Roswas. Irina. Look, he's still very upset, which is why when you try and talk to him you're relighting the fire you caused, not giving it a chance to die out. Irina knows she can't lie, but it isn't a lie. She knows he's never going to forgive them right now, and maybe in time, but the current truth is that Issei still doesn't want anything to do with them, and he probably going to be gone before they even get to say sorry. Zenobia. What do you mean relighting the fire? Irina. It wouldn't help you if I had to explain it to you. Why don't you tell the others and figure it out? The two looked confused but accepted it and went to their desks before class started. The day went on without any problem. Later on, Irina and Ravel went to the orc club room to get Roswas. Once they entered they heard Rias talking to them. Rias. Alright, so tonight's training will include Kiba, Keno and Kaneko with Zenobia, and tomorrow morning we can brush up with each other and see how we can make a few changes to the plan. All. Sound good, Rias. Irina. Wow, you guys really put in a lot of effort. Rias. We have to, we know we heard Issei, and he's not going to help defend us or help like he used to, so we worked on making ourselves stronger, so he won't have to work so hard. Ravel. I'm impressed, honestly, it's not like I'm looking at the same group anymore. Akeno. Smiling. Thank you, Ravel. Irina. Anyways, Roswas. Roswas. Yes. Irina. Issei wants to talk to you about something. He asked us to bring you home with us. Roswas. Alright, let's go. Rias. See you later, Roswas. Say hi for us if it comes up. The rest of us, let's go and finish with the training. They nodded and then they left to go train, and then it was only Roswas, Ravel and Irina. Roswas. Worried. How is he? Irina. We have made a slight breakthrough. A phoenix tear took away some of the effects. He should make it till at least after the fight, but after that, we aren't so sure how long he's going to be around for. They could see the sad look on her face, but she's keeping her emotions in check before they run wild. Ravel. It's sad, they are working hard to show Issei that they can change, and he's probably not going to fully see it. Irina. Let's go see him, shall we? They nodded and left the club room. At the apartment, the three walks in to find the dining table set with candles and well-cooked food for all of them. Issei. Smiles. Hey girls. They could see it on his face. He was still tired and pale looking, yet he was still up and about. Irina. Darling, what's all this? She greeted him and gave him a kiss, then looked him in the eyes. Issei. Thank you for helping me when I needed it. He sat them down and they were amazed by the food. Issei. Well, dig and we can talk. They started eating and on the first bite they were even more amazed by the food. Ravel. First you can sing and now you can cook, you're amazing. Issei. Smiling. Thanks, I wanted to treat you girls to something. Things haven't been the most pleasing, But with I can do now, I decided to do this for you all. You've kept me from falling further, and I love each and every single one of you for it. They all started blushing. Irina was happy she was with him, Ravel was happy to receive his love, and she would cherish it for the years to come. It was a similar feeling for Rias. She was starting to see him in a different light more now. The first time was when he kept his emotions in check and didn't blow up at anyone, and immediately started working on himself. She even noticed that his old tendencies haven't made their appearance in a while. She saw a different side of him again, when he cried his heart out to her, when he found out he's going to die, and he couldn't change it. And now again a broken soul, even damaged, is still giving out the love, even if it's mutual love. All the different ways she's seen him at now sparked something in her, and she liked the feeling. To her, Issei isn't just a warrior, she's seeing him as a man who can only try and be better, while nothing is in his favor, and still treating them like he owes them the world when he doesn't. Issei. Hey, look, after tomorrow I don't know what state I'm going to be in tomorrow, but I'm happy to probably spend my last good night with you. 3 smiles. Girls. Smiling. It's our pleasure. Rias. I must thank you though, after Odin just left me here you gave me a home and a family that's sure rough around the edges, but they still do care for each other. She smiled at him and he smiled and nodded. Ravel. I must do the same. You honestly changed my life a lot and made me feel like I belong somewhere. I wish you could have shown me more, but I'm glad that I met you, and you still beat the crap out of my brother. I'll always cherish the day we had cake and tea on the mountain that day. Issei chuckled and gave her a few head pats which made her smile. Irina. I'll always love you. We have been together since we were young. You were my first and only love, and nothing will change that. He took her hand and looked into her violet eyes. Issei. Thank you for being part of my life. I'll be smiling back at you from wherever I land. Up smiles. She tightened her grip on his hand and smiled. The next day Issei, Irina and Ravel went to the orc club room. Before they came, Ravel asked if he was going to need another tear, and he thought about it and nodded. He took it and powered through the pain. They watched the marks go away even more, but not as much as the first time they tried it. Once entered the club room, the others were all waiting for them. It's the first they saw Issei in the state he's in. He's slightly pale and looks very tired, but he's up and walking like nothing is bothering him. Azazel then came and looked at them and saw Issei in very concerning state, but still opened the portal, and it took them to the underworld. On the way to the arena, they sat in a carousel with Azazel. Azazel noticed how he wasn't necessarily talking to anyone on his team, and that he's grown a bit, but the look on his face showed something was wrong. Azazel. Oh, alright, what happened? They all looked at him. Issei. Nothing to concern yourself with, old man, it's been handled. They all looked at him with wide eyes. He called Azazel old man. Azazel. Sarcastic. Sure kid, I totally believe you with it. You've hardly spoken to anyone, let alone me, and I don't know if anyone has noticed, but you look like shit on top of it. Issei. Let me put it this way for you, I'm going to get my ass beat, and I would rather enjoy the comfort of my uninjured body before I have what looks like weeks of recovery ahead of me. Azazel. Understandable, and I'm not old. Issei smirks. Go dye your fringe blonde again. I see grays poking through. The team all had to hold in a laugh. They tried their best, but a little slipped out. It calmed the current mood of everyone in the carriage, since no one knew what they wanted to say, because they didn't want to upset Issei more. Azazel. For that one, you get extra training. Issei. Tired, whatever you say, old man. The carousel finally stopped and they all got out. Rias. Issei, good luck today. Let's do this together. She smiled at him, and he looked at her. Issei. Sure thing, Rias. He walked ahead of them while they were happy he was talking to them again. Rias. Happy he said my name. Bekeno. Happy, I know, I'm surprised. Rias. Let's do this. I'm even more motivated to make things right with him. Maybe he can come back home to us. Time skipped to Issei and Sererg's fight. Issei's aura could be seen oozing off him. His power was skyrocketing, but he was also angry between how much they lost and how much they fought. But Sererg himself taking out Akeno, Kiba and Rias, and the fall of Kaneko in the first round, then Gasper and Zenobia. Issei's anger grew and grew as the rounds went by. He tried his best to not let his aura run, but he could already feel the effects of falling slowly catching up to him. When his round came, he donned his balance breaker, but it didn't get as many cheers as it would have. The balance breaker is fading and has black markings all over it. It looked brittle and old. Rias herself looked confused along with the Devil Kings, along with Lord Michael and Azazel. They can clearly see something is wrong as Sererg Queen, and his round started. He then let his power rush a bit. He charged toward her and nearly took her head off, but Sererg retired her before he could hit her. Issei. Tired, sorry about that, I lost restraint. He had to take a knee. The pain of his falling was spreading, and it hurt. Others could see something was wrong with him, but didn't know what was actually happening. Sererg. It's alright, I requested to fight you at your best. Now shall I call for a battle royal? Issei. Gritting his teeth, bring it. He stood up and faced Sererg. The crowd cheered but could see something was a bit wrong with Issei. It was like he was trying to rush the fights, and now, they just called the battle royal, with Issei as Asia Sererg and his new pawn. They stood looking at each other. Rias stood behind him ready to help defend him. Asia was ready to heal them if needed. Issei. Tired, no more tricks. Sererg, what's your little secret? I can see something up with the new guy. He's not human or devil, But his sacred gear power is radiating more. Don't play games, let's get done with it. Sererg. I like this version of you. Last time I beat you, let's see what you can do. Rias rise. The pawn fell to his hands and knees, then got on all fours and slowly turned into a giant golden lion that shook the ground when it roared as his skin tore apart, fully taking its large form. Azazel. Oh my god, one of the missing 13 Longinus. Announcer. Would you look at that, a missing Longinus has been under our noses the whole time. The crowd cheered in excitement as they all got ready to fight. Issei looked him dead in the eye, ready to strike. He could feel the pain spreading around his body. He bit down on his teeth and slowly pulled himself together to make sure that he doesn't lose focus on the person in front of him. Rias. Issei, take my cousin Asia and I will handle Rias. Issei. Tired, alright. He bit down on his teeth and burst off. Rias charged towards Issei and tried to get in his way, but he kicked it hard enough to the side and started attacking Sererg. The two started a fist fight, creating shockwaves with each collision of their fists. But the last strike pain shot through the Issei's body and he wasn't ready for the hit, and Sererg hit him and knocked him off his feet and drilled him into the ground and continued hitting him repeatedly in the face. Issei looked to his side and saw Rias covered in blood and Asia a distance away looking at him in fear. With each hit, it was like a shock through Issei's body. His blood started to pool and he could hear voices in his head. Slam. Rainer. Would you die for me? Slam. Rias. I should have married Riser. Slam. Bekeno. Is it that hard just to say her name? He really messed up this time. We don't have time for mess ups like this. Slam. Asia. I'm normally one to side with him, but he's wrong this time. He was being stupid and even I know that. Slam. Zenobia. They really called me thick, but he's worse. Why aren't those saying anything? Are they staying mutual? But can't they see he's in the wrong? They should know better. Slam. Kaneko. Good for nothing pervert. Slam. Greg. It's time, Ice. Good luck. The onlookers watched in horror as Issei was getting beaten senseless. Irina had tears in her eyes, and the others struggled to watch Issei get beat like this. Sererg was about to land one more hit on him, but was blasted back by a large amount of power. The red aura spread around the arena, and they watched as Issei stood up and screamed in pain. They watched as his skin tore apart, horns grew out of his head, spikes grew out of his back, and his wings grew larger than they had seen before. His pooled blood started to run back up into his body, and his scales shot through his arms, face, back and legs. Red markings spread around his whole body, lining certain spots. The skin on his hands burnt off till clear bone was shown, then turned into claws, then recovered themselves in scales and horns. They watched in horror, amazement and shock, watching him turn into the creature before them. He took his hand and shoved it into his chest, pulled out the chest pieces from his body, and crushed them in front of everyone. The hole in his chest closed up, and his aura got even stronger and spread around everywhere. He let off an ear-shattering screech and caught a light and ran towards Sererg, eyes glowing red with a tint of green, and then hit him once, sending him flying into the distance. His scales turned black and a tail grew out of him, and he used it to grab Sererg and slam him down into the ground, then chuck him again. As he threw Sererg, he threw him forward, and in that same movement he flipped forward and with his tail made a trail of fire that knocked him further. He growled, and the heat coming off him was rising. Rias and Asia could only watch in horror for what Issei turned into. Rias then charged him and bit him, but it didn't faze him. He grabbed the golden lion by the head, slammed it down onto the ground, then chucked it towards Sererg. Sererg. What is this? He's turned into some monster. Why are my legs shaking? I need to enjoy this to its fullest. He touched Rias, and the lion turned into an armor and spread around his body, coating him in golden armor. His aura rose, making him stronger. He was about to charge Issei, but he disappeared. Issei turned to ash, then appeared next to him and hit him hard enough to break the sound barrier, sending him flying again, and covered his arms in fire and hit him repeatedly, breaking the ground and pushing Rias and Asia back with each blow. He let off a screech again and grabbed Sererg by the neck. He tried hitting Issei in the chest with his legs, but it didn't do anything. Issei hit him in his gut multiple times, with the last one sending him again. The red scales turned black, and then his aura turned into one of fire, and he hit Sererg back into the ground, shattering his armor. Stood over Sererg, breathing heavily with fire embers, leaving his body. Soon Issei's aura fell and so did his scales, but the black markings stayed on his body and the fell over and retired, leaving Rias and Asia in the ring. Everyone was shocked and sat in silence for nearly 5 minutes by the outcome, and slowly they all turned to cheers and celebration for the outcome of the fight. Everyone that is close to Issei was worried for him. He had never done that, and this was new for him. It looked like it changed him. To top it all off, he crushed Rias' evil pieces in front of them. He just freed himself in front of all of them. When he retired, Issei had passed out and was taken to an infirmary with Sererg. Issei was inside his head looking around. When he opened his eyes, he found himself within a white space. He knew it was the inside of the gear. He held his head in confusion. Issei. Confused. What happened? Ryag. Your body was slowly dying and it was going into shock. Issei. I don't remember much. I remember there being pain before he hit me, but then it kind of went blank. I don't remember anything at all. Greg. Well, I transformed your body and made you a full-blood dragon. You're not bound by the redeed anymore, and you're not considered a devil anymore, you're a heavenly dragon now. Issei. Huh, interesting. Greg. Well, wake up, you have people waiting to talk to you, we can talk about your changes later. Everything became fully white and he found himself in a hospital room, his body ached from the pain. He slowly sat up and held his head and shook it side to side. Issei. In pain, oh god, I feel like crap, what the hell man. Sarerg. You get used to this feeling quickly. Well done Issei, you showed me an amazing fight, you have my gratitude. He looked to his side and saw Sarerg covered in band-aid and a cast on his arm. Issei. In pain, geez, who beat you up? Sarerg. You did, you fulfilled your promise, you gave me a good fight, you have my gratitude. Issei. I don't even know what I did. They both looked at each other confused, which made them laugh and caused them to grunt in pain. Then Surziches walked in along with Grafia. Surziches. Happy my brother, you did us all proud. Grafia. You really showed true courage out there, but something was wrong that whole fight, it looked like you were in constant pain. He looked at the people in the room with him, took a deep breath and looked a bit sad about it. Issei. Look, I need to tell you two something Sarerg can know as well, it's about my current state from earlier in the fight and why I look the way I did. Issei told them everything from Rias and her peerage turning on him, how Rias even stated multiple times to his face and to Sona how Riser would have been a better option for her. The three devils' eyes went wide in disbelief. He continued and told them how dragons can fall and either become evil or die, and he was on the path of death and the use of magic was slowly killing him faster, and how he didn't think he would survive after this fight. He spoke about how it affected him worse when his parents took Ria's side and turned on him and he moved out with Irina and Ravel. He then explained that he doesn't know what he did during the fight, but Drake used a spell to turn him into a dragon, which had a very good chance of killing him on the spot. Surziches. I'm speechless, not only did you free yourself and live, you were dealing with all that, I don't know what to say. He sat down in disbelief processing what he just learned. Grafia came up to him and just hugged him. Grafia. You know, we would have done anything to make sure you're feeling better and help sort it out, you could have come to us. Sarerg. We could have postponed the fight too, it wasn't that serious to have it today, it would have been no problem at all to change it all. Issei. Look, I know you would have done a lot to help me, but I still truly don't know if I can trust any of them at all. They became the death of me, and I still don't know if I'm healed or not, and I know for a damn fact I don't want to see any of them right now. I would only allow Irina, Ravel and Roswis, and they made sure I was okay and tried everything they could to make sure I'm alive. Maybe Sona and Saji too, but regardless, I don't know what to feel towards them right now. I still feel anger, but not the same way I felt before the fight. It's just a lot going on and I'm exhausted from it all really. Surziches, Grafia and Sarerg felt bad for him. This was a serious matter, he could have been killed because of them, and he's been dealing with it by himself and took a very mature route. They saw scales grow on his arms, green gems came out and they heard a voice talk. Greg. He hasn't had a lewd thought or spoken about breasts for a few days. Now he's been working out a bit more and looking after himself with the angle and the Phoenix girl. Issei looked into it, the fall has completely been negated and your dragon powers, abilities and tendencies will only get stronger with time, but relax for now, you're drained of energy. Issei. Okay, cool. He laid back down and took a deep breath, a look of relief on his face. They gave him a small smile and he returned the smile and the mood started to feel better. They watched as the scales left and the markings that were on his body darker than what they were. Surziches. Issei, I'm sorry she did that to you, but ask us for anything and we will make it happen. Issei. I have nothing for you to do for me, but I'll let you know if figure something out, let me work things out, but what else did you come here for? Surziches. Smiling, well, it was about your promotion, but you are not a devil anymore. Issei surprised, regardless I got to mid-class. Grafia. Well, high class, actually you're at the right power level, but you can do as you please now actually. Surziches. I'm proud of you, but given the circumstances we can't really award you the rank unless you want to be a devil again. Issei. I don't know actually. Sarerg. Well, congrats Issei, the first reincarnated human to reach high class in less than a year and still kick my ass while dying. Not everyone can do that, it's an accomplishment. Regardless, you still did it as a devil before you freed yourself. Issei. Looking down, cool. Surziches. You don't seem to be particularly happy about this. Issei. Well, being high class was to not bring Rias standing down by her being engaged to low class, but with things now I don't know what to do anymore. I have a new start that I can start a new adventure now, but I don't know what to do. Surziches. Rest now brother, you deserve it, see you around, you too Sarerg, well done, your fight was amazing. Sarerg nodded and Surziches and Grafia both left them to relax and recover. Sarerg. Want to talk more about what happened or is this a bit of an open wound? Issei. That wound just started healing, I'll tell you in time, how about over a drink? Sarerg. You drink. But it's good with me now, let's get some rest. Issei. Blacking out, sure thing man. But Surziches and Grafia after leaving the room. Surziches. I can't believe her, honestly I'm really disappointed, I expected better. Grafia. Worry not my love, I'm sure Issei will cover it, but let's not let her have the benefit of the doubt, perhaps give her a bit of a wake-up call. I know you love your sister, but she's gone too far this time. Surziches. Agreed, I spoiled her too much and this was the outcome. They heard footsteps and saw Rias and her peers walking towards Issei's room. They saw the two standing by the door, Rias, and the others had some band-aids on them, but not as bad as Sererg. Surziches. Don't go inside, he's asleep and can't talk to someone who is unconscious. There was a tone in his voice that struck a chord in all of them, even Irina. They all found it weird that he was hostile toward them. Rias. Freaked but. Surziches. Angry, I said don't go inside. They felt his anger and felt uneasy about it. It was only rising the longer he looked at Rias. Rias. Fine, we will wait here. Irina. But I'm going. They watched as Surzich's facial expression change to a softer one and calmer tone. Surziches. Go right ahead. He opened the door and let her walk in, followed by Roswis and Ravel, and they closed the door. Rias. Brother. Surziches. I know what you said, who knows, maybe Riser will still be willing to marry Urias, he's clearly a better suitor for you. The Ingraphia walked away, leaving the others shocked by what they tried to keep under control. Hiba. Shocked, oh no. Rias. Tearing up, no, this can't happen, please no. Rias slowly started to panic, her heart was racing. She didn't want her brother to know, because she thought she could fix it, but it was too late. The others comforted her, but it was no use. Inside the hospital room, the girls walked in and found both Sererg and Issei deep asleep. Irina walked up to Issei's bed and smiled watching him sleep. He looked better than before, but still looked a bit sick, but they were happy he was alive and still. Irina. Smiling, he's out cold. Issei. Half asleep, glad you're here my love, guess who's going to live. He grabbed Irina's hand on instinct and fell back to sleep. She blushed and smiled along with Roswis and Ravel. They had small smiles on their faces, happy to see he was going to recover. Irina tearing up, I have more time. Sniff. Ravel. It's good to see he's getting better, I'll give him a tear later to fix him up a bit. Roswis. Hopefully after the festival things clear up for the better. Irina. Tearing up, sniff, I hope so too. Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day, bye.